Clearly, this video was highly requested. You guys really want a training tips video or like a way to make your own training. And so I've decided to devise Zach Levet's guide to making your own training plan. I think it's important to teach you guys how to make your own training plan instead of just me giving you one. Because there's going to be at least one time in your running career when you're not going to have a coach and you're going to need to be able to make your own training plan. Maybe that'd be this quarantine, maybe that'd be when you get out of high school and go into college running and you're not on a team or something like that. I don't know. And this video is going to give you all the knowledge that you need to make a solid training plan to get you to wherever you want to be in running, whether you're on a marathon, 800, 400, whatever race you want to run, honestly. But before we get into it, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is a game that I've been addicted to recently. It's an RPG game with really incredible graphics. Challenge yourself to your edge in ongoing tournaments, competing against the entire Raid community while fighting the Spider's Den, Ice Golem's Peak, and Almighty Fire Knight, or the Notorious Dragon. Come in this May, you'll be able to compete in brand new arena tournaments, earning points according to your tier, and win awesome rewards in the local and global tournaments. This game is super fun, and I've been loving it when I just want to sit down, relax, and have a good time. I even gave it to my friend Jake while I was editing this video, and he played for 90 minutes straight without me even saying anything. I was like, dude, what do you, I mean, bro, come on, hang out with me, like, come on. But it was just that sucked into the game. It's incredibly fun. I cannot emphasize that enough. I love the storyline, I love the graphics, I love being able to sacrifice different champions to upgrade my main champions I like, and playing PvP battles is also super interesting, and seeing just how good people are just makes me want to play even more to try and get up to where they are. Go to the video's description and click the special links, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver plus 1 free champion slasher. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Good luck, and I'll see you there. Okay, so this video is going to be broken down into 3 parts. Part 1. Basics of training. Basics. Part 2, favorite workouts and workouts that you can use to build into your training plan. Okay, and then part 3, how to make your own training plan. So this will be your guide through the video, and so let's start with part 1, the basics. Okay, so the first basic of training is basically the arc of a season. If you didn't already realize this, I'm going to use cross country as an example, but basically your season moves in an arc. During the summer, you're usually building up and kind of building your mileage base throughout the summer. You're adding more workouts gradually, and you start out with like no workouts at the start. And then once the season hits, usually your coach takes your mileage and just drops it off. Like usually it's not incredibly significant, but in a lot of programs, it's a good bit less than, you know, your peak summer mileage. What this allows you to do is to build up a big base of mileage. Like it allows your aerobic system to get better and stronger. And then once you bring the mileage down, it allows you to race faster. Because when you're running a ton, it's hard to run really fast because your legs are usually super weighed down and feeling pretty awful. But then when you come from running a ton and go to moving and running less, your body feels better and you can race better and you can race faster. So that's kind of the arc of a season. But you may be wondering, like Zach, then if you're going up and then coming back down, how are you getting better? And that's where I want to kind of take you to the long-term steps. Okay, so now that we have the whiteboard, to explain, you start your first season here, at this point down here on the graph. You build up your mileage, you're getting better, you're getting better, you're getting better, and then you come down to peak. But your peak is where you're going to be racing the fastest. Up here you weren't going to be running really fast because you're in really new territories and you're probably pretty uncomfortable. So that's why you bring your mileage down and you get into a comfortable range and you start racing really fast. Then your fitness and your everything is kind of down here because you haven't been doing base work. But then you start your next season and you build the arc up again. And then you bring it down and you taper and you peak. And you kind of repeat this cycle, and the graph will continue to be moving upwards. So it's like you're climbing a staircase. You're taking small steps up every single time. Your foot may go above the step, but it's still gonna come down and land on the step. It may sometimes be hard to tell that you're making progress because, you know, sometimes it is small steps that you're making. But at the end of the day, after years of training, you're finally gonna be making progress and your line will be trending upwards. Okay, my next principle is mileage versus intensity. A lot of people like to think that, oh, if I run 50 miles a week now, I'll be able to run this 5K time. I'm sorry, that will not work. There's no special recipe that'll tell you how fast you run based on the amount of miles you run. It's all a game of finding what works for you. Some people thrive with running a ton of miles, really slowly and just getting the mileage in and doing some workouts. And then others don't really get much from that, and they usually get more from running faster and doing less. It all kind of depends on the type of athlete that you are. Some of my friends that run over like 60 to 70 miles a week will just like immediately get injured, and that's just how it is. Like some people just aren't meant to be running as much as others. That's not to say you can't, but it's just sometimes that is how it is. So figuring out what type of athlete you are is really important. But one caveat to this is that you can't do both. Some people try to improve by running a ton of miles really fast, and that's never going to work. That's always gonna result in you getting injured, and it's just gonna burn you out. This is something that took me so many years to learn, but running fast when you're not supposed to will hurt you more than it'll help you. My fourth big point is that you actually need to do workouts to get better. This is kinda true. Like, obviously you can get better without doing workouts, but the workouts are gonna be where you're gonna make the biggest strides. Like, no pun intended. Like, you're literally just gonna make the biggest progress in the workouts, because that's where you're gonna be stressing your systems. That's where you're gonna be really running certain workouts at certain times in your season will help you run a faster race. It's all a game of conditioning your body, and if you're always running easy, you're not gonna be conditioning yourself to run at faster paces. My fifth point is to re-emphasize this: don't go too fast on your easy day, guys. Please, just don't go too fast. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. Point 6 is the basic types of workouts. And this kind of leads me into section 2, but there are many different types of workouts that have different purposes. I don't know, there's a lot of different types of workouts, but they are different, and workouts are structured in different ways to give you different results. Some workouts you do earlier in the season and others you do later in the season. Okay, let's move on to section 2, my favorite types of workouts. Okay, so the first of these workouts is a fartlek workout. If you don't know what a fartlek is, it sounds a bit weird, but basically a fartlek workout is a workout where you have intervals of time where you run hard and then you run easy. So an example of this would be a 1 minute on, 1 minute off fartlek. This is a 1-to-1 ratio fartlek, obviously, because you have 1 minute of hard and 1 minute of easy. And you'd probably do that something like 10 to 20 times. So that's 20 to 40 minutes of running and either 10 or 20 minutes of hard running. You should be pushing, they should be hard. Not too hard because you don't want to kill yourself, but I always felt like I got a huge benefit from doing these. An example of a really fun fartlek that I used to do back in high school was called a pyramid, and my coach Drew Spicer always did this to us, and it was always so hard, but it was also so fun. But basically you start out with a 1 minute fartlek, and then you go into a 2 minute rest. And then you go into a 2 minute fartlek, and then you go into a 3 minute rest. And basically you go from 1 minute to 5 minutes and then 5 minutes to 1 minute. And basically you get the rest from the duration of the rep before. So if you're on the 5 minute set, you're about to go to a 4 minute hard, so you're gonna get a 4 minute easy. The next type of workouts are tempos, and for me they're usually in between the range of like 2 or 3 miles to like 5 to 10 miles. So it could be a really large range of miles depending on the type of running that you're doing and the type of runner that you are. But in high school, a lot of times my high school coach would make us do 3 mile tempos and 4 mile tempos. And some people say that optimal tempo pace is like 70% of your max. But in high school for me, I was like a 15:38 5K runner or something like that. And I remember my tempo pace always between 5:10 and 5:20. Which may have been technically a little bit fast. It's something that you should be able to sustain for the mileage that you're doing, but it should not be easy. So like take your best race effort and then just drop it down a tier. You know, I feel like during races a lot of people end up going out fast and dying out. And so these tempos should be even. They should be evenly split, and it should be a pace that you can evenly split. The next is a progression run, and in my opinion these are great during long runs, and they don't have to be done during long runs, but say you have a 10-mile long run. If you start out at 7 minute pace and you're trying to get down to 5 minute pace by the end, and you just slowly chip away, you're gonna be getting a great workout in. A lot of college programs love a progression run, and I personally love a progression run. It gets highly satisfying, and it kind of tests your pacing ability, because if you go out too fast, you're probably gonna be burnt for the end. And then the last is like a classic track workout. I think some may consider these interval workouts. I don't really know. I've always just had them be referred to as track workouts, and these are things that are sets of intervals, I guess technically, all put together. So something like 12 by 400, or something like 400, 800, 400, 800, 400, 800. And honestly, they should be intelligently selected towards the race that you're preparing for. So if you're training for a 5K is 3 miles, 3.1 miles, but it's 3 miles basically. And I would probably structure my workout so we're doing about 3 to 4 miles of hard work in that case. Okay, so this is how to structure a week of training. This is how to make a training schedule. This kind of hones back to the arc of a season. So if I were you, I would chart out my entire season. How long am I gonna be training before my last race? Usually this is the course of 3 to 4 months. You should probably consider the last month as a serious peaking period, and during those weeks, you need to be sure that your mileage is lower than at the start of your season. If your season is 4 months long, then I would definitely take the first 6 to 8 weeks as a true build-up period. What that means is starting really easy. If you want your peak mileage to maybe be 60 miles a week, I would probably take those 6 to 8 weeks to build up to that high mileage point. Maybe starting with 20 miles a week, then going 30, then 40, then 50, then 60. Or something even slower to make that more of a gradual increase. Once you're at that peak of mileage, you kind of want to stay there. The longer you can stay at this mileage peak, the fitter you're gonna get. Because it's literally just an equation of time on feet. Continuing with the example of a 4-month season, your first 2 months are the build-up, then your next month is staying at that high mileage, and then your last month is peaking. A lot of times people will take a down week, so maybe you go 2 weeks at 60 or 55 to 60, and then you take another week at like 45 to 50, and then back up to 60. And if your season is maybe 5 months or 6 months, you'll probably just want to stay at this high mileage point for longer. And in that case, you'll probably want to include more down week, and you want to intersperse those so you feel refreshed, but also so you can hit workouts and just not be burning out your body. Because when you're running the most you've ever run, it's gonna be hard to keep it there. And then finally comes the taper, and honestly this last month you should gradually be bringing it down. So say you're at 60, then maybe you go down to 40, and then another week at like 35 to 40, and then another week at 35 to 40, and then that last week before your last race, honestly, you can bring it down a ton, maybe even a 25-mile week. It's gonna feel ridiculous and you're gonna feel like you're doing no work at all, but honestly, it's gonna start to make you feel so good in your races if you keep your mindset there and let yourself know that you did all the work. All the fitness is still there. Your legs are gonna let yourself do things that you've never expected to do. So that's kind of the more general arc of a season, but on a week-to-week basis, what I like to usually do is, of course, at the start, you're just gonna have 6 days of easy running and then 1 long run. Wouldn't hurt to incorporate some cross training in there, maybe some biking, maybe some swimming. Those things can always help you. Cross training is a secret key to getting more fit without actually putting on more miles. Then maybe 2 to 3 to 4 weeks into your build-up, you may want to start incorporating 1 workout a week. This could be something like a progression run on Wednesday, and then having your long run on Sunday, and then having easy days in between. Also, I just want to say that usually for the long run day, I do make this a harder thing, so once you've started to incorporate workouts and get back into that, I would probably start to make these long runs a little bit harder. Then once I get to the middle of my season, I'll probably start to go by this schedule. Monday easy, Tuesday easy workout, Wednesday easy, Thursday hard workout, Friday easy, Saturday easy, and then long run, which is another workout. So that's usually what I do in the middle of my season, and this is when I start to feel the most fit. And then by the end of the season, when you're peaking, you want to be doing a lot more shorter workouts. So you may be doing workouts that are your race distance towards the middle of the season, but by the end, you want these workouts to be short. I remember in high school during cross country, by the end of the season, we would start doing workouts that were literally 1 mile of hard work. As a resource for other people watching this video, post your favorite workouts in the comments down below for other people to try out. Maybe post your PRs and the times that you tried to hit in the workout so people have like kind of an idea of what to hit. But this would be a great way to kind of share different workouts and just be a great resource for other people. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day. As usual, live happy and be healthy. I will see you soon. Peace.